Alright folks, welcome back to another Sudoku. We have a very hard puzzle today. Alright, let's get to it, shall we? Alrighty, there we go. Kind of taking in the puzzle a little bit here, looking at the alleyways, these nice little interesting corners. See these interesting corners? 3, 6, and a 9. And a 1 and a 2. So this 2 and this 2, only one spot left for the 2. Alright, this 1 comes on down. So we have to have a 1 over here. Okay, we have a 6 that comes across here and a 6 that comes across here. So we've got a 6 there. Got a pair of 7s that just jumped out in front of me. I'll grab them here while I'm thinking about them. Across the top and the middle and down the right side, so we only have 1 there. We got this cool little lane and this cool little lane. So we have a 9, 5, and a 3. Okay, we've got a 5 and a 3 down here. So the 9 comes down, so we just have 2 spots for the 9. I just noticed a lot of 3s. Here's 2 3s to the left and the center. Here's 2 3s across the bottom and the middle. So only 1 spot left for the 3 there. We got this cool little lane here in the middle that's only missing 3 numbers, which will give us some stuff here. Let's see, we've got a 1. We need a 2. Well, 2 cannot be here, so we have to have a 2 here. We need a 3, and the 3 can't be in the top, so the 3 has to go here. And we need a 4. No help, so 4's down there. 5, 6. So these 2 are going to be 7s and 8s. 7s and 8s. That is okay. Alright, now just like we had these lanes down here, we have the same lanes up here. So let's look here. We have a 6, a 1, and a 3. Well, we have a 1 and a 3, but the 6 comes up this lane, and this 6 helps us out here. So 1 spot here. Alright, so we've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 across, and 5 up. So there's only 1 spot left for the 5. 6. Now we have a 7 that comes across and blocks this spot. So we have a ghost column that tells us this can no longer be a 7, so that has to be our 8. You see that ghost? No matter which one of these is a 7, I can't have a 7 anywhere else. So these 2 were 7s and 8s. So that one can't be a 7 anymore, so here's our 7. 1, we need a 2. Well, we can't have a 2 here. So our 2's go here, and then no help on the 4's. Those 4's are going to be a little tricky this game. So the 4's can go. Let's just mark it. That's the last one for this cube. The cube's fully marked out. There we go. So we're good to go. Okay, alright. Alrighty. Just kind of looking through the lanes here. So we got another lane, 1, 3, and a 5. So we've got a 3 and a 5, but the 1 comes through, so 1s can still be in 3 spots. So let's leave that for just a moment. We've got a 3, 6, and a 7. Come up here, and we do have a 7 here, and a 7 here. So 7 middle, 7 right, 7 bottom, 1 spot left for the 7. Now one of these 2 was a 7. Well, it can no longer be on top. So this is actually the only spot left for a 7. That helps clean that up a smidgen. Heard my phone. I don't know where I left it. Okay. Well, let's see what else we have. Okay, alright, so I think those were kind of just the lanes and the grabs real quick. So now I'm starting to look at pairs. So let's look at these top 3 cubes real quick. We got a 1 across, a 1, still 3 spots. Let's see what else we have. We only got 3 spots here, and usually I like to look what we're missing. We're missing a 4, and 9, and a 1. Not a ton of help just yet. Okay, we do have a pair of, it's like I was just looking at 1s. Let's look at 2s. Let's look at 3s. We have a pair of 3s, so I'm only going to mark it if there's 2, unless we're kind of towards the end of the cube. I try not to get too carried away with that. I have confused myself more than once. Okay, we've got all of our 5s. We've got 2 6s, middle and bottom. So our 6 has to go up here. We've got all the 7s, 8s, we have a little bit of help with the 8s. Still have 3 spots here that could be 8. We have 4 spots here that could be 8, so we'll leave those alone for just a moment. 9s. Okay, so those are those 3 cubes. Let's move down to these 3 cubes. We've got 1s, middle and bottom, so our 1s have to go up here. We have a 2 across the bottom. We still have 4 spots. It could be a 2. We have a 3 and a 3, so we only have 2 spots for a 3. This 4 comes up, so we still have 4 spots and no help on the 4s over there. We've got a 5 and a 5. Okay, well, while I'm looking at these 5s, this 5 jumped out at me. So I've got this 5 and I've got this 5, which makes this one a 5, which then comes back up here, 5, 5, and a 5. So I only have 2 spots for my 5 here. Now, I put these 2 5s in here, and I notice that we get a double lock. So see these 2 6s and these 2 5s, they pair up. So let's see, this 5 comes across, this 5 comes across, this 5 comes down. So really this is actually the only spot that can be a 5. And one of these 2 were a 6. That's the only spot left, which this is the only spot now for the 1. And then we got 2 numbers missing here, which looks like a 9 and an 8. And I have a helpful 9 here. And then I've got 1 number missing here. 1, 2, 3. That's those 4s that are not coming out very easy. Alright, this 4 comes up and helps us to make this one a 2, makes this one our 4. We got 2 numbers missing here. Looks like a 2 and a 9, so let's throw the other 2 in there. We got 2 numbers missing here. Looks like a 1 and an 8, and we do have a helpful 8 here, so that has to become our 1. That becomes our 8. Alright, 2 numbers missing in this row, and they're 2s and 9s, and I have a helpful 9 here, so this one becomes my 2, this one becomes my 9, this one becomes my 2. 2 numbers missing here, one is a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. 1 and a 4. No 4s to help just yet, so we'll just slide some numbers in there. That's all good. Okay, alright. Looking vertically for pairs, I got a pair of 1s here, the left and the right, and a 1 across the top. So just 1 spot for the 1. These 2 pairs of 1s come across the top and the middle, so I only have 2 spots for 1s. Now I got 2 numbers missing here. 1, 2, 3, it looks like a 4 and a 9 here and here. Nothing to help me with that, so let me just throw those numbers in there so we don't get those lost. Okay. Let's see here. We've got all of our 2s, 2s, 2s. We've got our 3s marked up, 3, 3, 3s. This 4 comes up, this 4 comes across. Alright, well, let's just mark them now that we're getting close to the ends here. Can go there. We've got our 5 and our 5 and a 5. So we have to have a 5 here that matches this one. Okay, let's check out our 6s here. Got a 6 that comes up here. We've got a 6 that comes across. Ooh, look this way. 6 down the middle, 6 up the right, 6 across the middle. Choing! One spot. Alright, so now we have middle, we have bottom, and we have right. So these two are going to go here, and that's going to match these two. That cleans that up. 7's in the right, 7's down the center, 7's across the bottom, and 7's across the middle. This is the only spot left for a 7, which now cleans up our 6 there and cleans up our 6 there. Very good, very good. We like that. Just nibbling away. I've got a 3 and a 4 here, and I've only got 2 numbers missing, so this one has to match that. 3 and 4, 3 and 4. We like that. Okay, all right. Now this 4 does come up this little alley here, so we know we have to have a 4 over here. Okay, so these 3 numbers right here, we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I need an 8 and a 9. Eight and a 9. Okay, so 8 and a 9. Lots of places that those can all go. I need to be careful so I don't get myself all mixed it up. There's an 8 that I need over there, and I need a 2 over there. Okay, alright, well, I think I'm just going to have to jot these down here. I'm going to get myself confused, or I got to be really careful. This top row has 3 numbers. I'm missing an 8 and a 9. And I'm missing this 2, but see this 2? So the 2 has to go over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just kidding. I was testing you, seeing if you was awake. Okay, what do we have over here? We have our 1, 2, 2, 2 can go here, 3, 4 can go everywhere, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 8, so my 8 has to go here or here, and then my 9 can go 4 spots. A 1, 4, and an 8. Okay, I'm getting to the spot where I think I'm just going to have to write down these numbers, or I'm going to get myself tied up. Okay, let's do it. It's going to get ugly for a moment. Here's our 1. We cannot have a 2 here or here. 2, 2, 2. We've got a 3. Okay, now we can have a 4 everywhere. Okay, our 5 has to go here because we've got a 5 here, a 5 here, and a 5 here. We've got our 6, we've got our 7, we've got our 8s because we have an 8 in the middle and a 9, or an 8 this way. Okay, so we do have a 9 here and we have a 9 here. So our 9s can go above and below. That's everything. It's ugly, but it is marked out. Okay, 1s, 2s, 3s. Now 4s cannot go across the top. 5, 6, 7. Sound like a dance step there for a moment. Okay, so we cannot have an 8 here, and we cannot have an 8 here. So that means we can have an 8 here, here, or here. And then we have no 9 across the bottom, but a 9 can go here, here, or here. Blah. Okay. Very good. Okay, this is fully, so now I got to figure out these two cubes over here, and then we'll have all of our numbers down, then we can look for the things I missed. 1, 2, okay, we got a 3 down here. Okay, now a 4 cannot be across the top, but a 4 can be everywhere else. 5, 6, 7. Now I need an 8. Now an 8 cannot be in the left, and an 8 cannot be in the center. So 8 has to be here or here. Then I need a 9. Now the 9 cannot be in the bottom, so the 9 has to be here or here. Okay, that's actually a lot cleaner than I thought that one was going to be. I thought that was going to be messy like this one over here. Okay, so the last one here down, let's look at this cube here if I can get my mouse. 1, 2. Alright, 3s have to be over here. 4s can be here. 5s, 6, 7. Now we need an 8. Now the 8 cannot be here, and the 8 cannot be here. But it can be everywhere else. 8, 8, 8. Now we need a 9. 9 can't go here, and 9 can't go here. So there's only 2 spots for the 9, if I can get my fingers stretched. Just like that. Blah. Okay, so there's a couple cool things that I noticed right off the bat. So this is a 3 and a 4. See, this is double locked. And what I mean by that is if this becomes a 3, then this is a 4. If this is a 4, this is a 3. Now, regardless of how you choose which one's a 3 or a 4, it doesn't matter. You cannot have a 3 or a 4 anywhere else because that completes the row. So I can take the 4 off of here because that's double locked. You cannot have another 4 in this row because those two, that's the only two that it can be. Vertically you only have 2 spots, so that's the same, but you don't have that anywhere else. So putting in all the numbers, like see this 4 and 9, of course there's nothing else, but look this way. If this is a 4, then this is a 9. If this is a 9, this is a 4. So look at these two. I can't have a 4 here. See how that cleans that up? Okay, so having these numbers in can really help us. Now see these 3s and 8s are double locked. Okay, so now those are nice and clean and neat. Okay, so now I'm looking for a cool little pattern here. Now that we're getting these cleaned up a smidgen. See if I see any more of those other double locks that can help us out. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Okay, 2 and a 4. So one of these two has to be a 1. And then 2, 4, and 9. So I'm curious if this rectangle, with these hards and very hards, there's a rectangle. That's what I call it. I don't know what it's really called, but when you get down to the very last part of the puzzle, I get stumped and I actually have to write it down because my brain can't see 3 steps ahead. I just can't. I start to daydream. I always had that problem in school. I'd read a book and I'd get so excited in my head about the book that I would start daydreaming and I'd make up the story myself. And then I'd go back and I wouldn't remember what was actually in the book or what was in my head that I made up. So when it gets down to this last part, I just take a little piece of paper. If I had my printer work and I could print this puzzle off, but for some reason, see this 4, 9, 4, 9, 4, 9, 2, 4, and this 4, 9 here, I think I wanted to just kind of pry that in my brain here. So like for instance, let's say this is a 4 right here. Okay, so if that's a 4, then the one above it's a 9, but that makes that a 2. So if those are 2s and 4s and these are 1s and 9s, If those are 1s and 9s, that makes that one an 8. It makes that one a 5. And it makes that one a 9. Makes that one a 3. Makes that one an 8. Makes that one a 5. And I'm just trying to break it. I'm trying to figure out, so those are 3s and 4s. And if I can find something that it won't work, okay, so that has to be a 4, and that has to be a 2. Okay, so that's a 4, so that's a 1, and that's a 4, and that's an 8. Okay. Alright, that becomes a 9, that becomes a 2, becomes a 4, that becomes a 1, 9, 1. Okay, 3, 4, 8. Okay, so if I did it that way, it actually works out. But I don't want to just figure out how it works out. I actually want to try to break it so that my brain can see why a certain one won't work. So if I do this as a 4, it works out just fine. The whole puzzle solves itself. So what happens if I take it the same thing and I create that as a 9? I want to see why it breaks. Okay, so if this becomes a 9, okay, so if that's a 9, then that one becomes a 4, that one becomes a 3, that one becomes an 8, that one becomes a 9, okay, okay, that one becomes a 2, that one becomes an 8, okay, alright, okay, and these are 1s and 4s, so this becomes a 9, 1s and 4s, so that makes this one an 8, which is a 3, which is a 4, 5s and 8s, okay, 3, 8, 9. Okay, so that right there doesn't work. Okay, so if this is a 9, this is a 2, so if these are 9s and 2s, this is an 8. Now if this is an 8, then these are 1s and 4s. My rectangle is this way. That breaks. So because if this is an 8, okay, so you see how this is an 8 and a 9? If this one becomes a 9, this is a 2 and this is an 8. Okay, there's my problem right there. And this is what I'm trying to find, is when there's a logical play that forces one number to not exist. And that's it right there. Right there. That's what I'm trying to find. See how there's an 8 and a 9 here? So if this is a 9, that makes this a 2. So if these are 9s and 2s, then this is an 8. That means I have an 8 and a 9, and I have an 8 and a 9. So this 8 and 9 breaks this puzzle. So that right there, folks, is what I'm trying to find. I don't know what you call that in these puzzles, but that right there is exactly the one that I'm having, because that right there will solve it. This right here cannot be a 9. If this is a 9, then this becomes an 8 and it breaks that. So this cannot be a 9, so it has to be a 4. And now we're just going to follow that through. Okay, so now that that's a 4, this is a 9. If this is a 9, this is an 8. If that's an 8, this one's our 3. If that's a 3, that's our 4. If that's a 4, that's our 3. If that's our 3, there's our 8. And I'm just going to cascade and let it fall through. So if this is a 9, there's our 4. If that's an 8, there's our 5. If we have a 5 and an 8, well, the only number left there's our 9. There's a 4, there's our 2. There's a 3, there's our 4. We have a 2 and a 4, so the only one left there's a 3. Okay, so we have a 9 here. So that one has to be a 5. We have a 9, so that becomes our 8. Okay, we have an 8 here, so this one becomes our 4. We have a 4, so that becomes our 1, becomes a 4. We've got a 4 and a 5, so the only number left there is a 2. Okay, so now these guys are 1s and 9s, because we've got a 2 and a 4, 1s and 9s. But I can't have a 1 here, so this is the only spot that a 1 can fit, and there's our 9. Okay, now we have an 8 and a 9 coming up, which is okay, because then we have a 2. So if there's a 2, there's our 9. Alright, so now we have 1s and 4, nope, 1s and 8s, because we have our 4. We have a 1 here and an 8 here, so we just swap those. There's our 8, and there is our 1. So there you have it, folks. We had a very hard puzzle there. You got to have a strong grasp of the double eliminations and the ghost rows and the ghost columns. And we found that logical puzzle there at the end that I just call it a rectangle because there's a forced logic loop, and I'm very happy to see that we found that on this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, I do recommend pausing the game at the beginning, print you off a couple copies, play along with, and as always, welcome any comments, suggestions, or challenges that you have for me. So thanks for watching, folks, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.